This is Anna with Adventures with Anna, and today I thought I would tell you a little bit about my first knowledge of Tunisian crochet and what I have been doing since I rediscovered Tunisian crochet, and show you my hooks that I have and tell you a little bit about what I plan on doing. So first off, my very first knowledge of Tunisian crochet was probably back in the mid to late 70s. I remember it was probably about 4th grade, so that would be mid 70s, mid to late 70s. My grandma made some Afghan stitch Afghans for a couple of my cousins. And what she did was what they called back then the Afghan stitch, which now we call it simple Tunisian stitch. And then she used that as a canvas and embroidered, kind of like you would with, not plastic canvas, but the other stuff. Cross stitch, counted cross stitch. She embroidered pictures on that and then did a crochet border around the edges. And back then, apparently they did not have long hooks, or she did not have a way to get some. So I remember that my grandpa made her a hook that was literally, well, you can't see in the picture, but it literally was probably 2 feet long, I'm guessing, because all of that had to fit, because it was just a middle piece, and all of that had to fit on the hook. And I remember it was made out of a dowel rod, and he sanded it and finished it. And we actually took that with us on an airplane on a trip that I went with him. But anyway, that's my first memory of Tunisian crochet, which, like I said, back then was called the Afghan stitch. Fast forward to about 3 years ago, I kept telling people, I'm going to learn to knit, I'm going to learn to knit, I'm going to learn to knit. Well, knitting and I just did not get along at that point. I was following the crochet crowd, which I still check their stuff from time to time, but not so much anymore. And Mikey did a Tunisian crochet, what was it, pot holder or washcloth or something, had a flower on it. I think it's still a free pattern on Yarnspiration's website. Well, I did that same pattern, only instead of the flower, which I did not like the flower, I had my husband draw me out a peace sign, and I embroidered the peace sign on there, and then I put another side to it, finished it off, and I gave it to my sister for a pot holder. She loves that thing. That was my first step into learning Tunisian crochet. Well, that was so much fun, so then I started, learning more and doing more. And a friend of ours, who's actually the minister at our church, gave me a bunch of knitting needles that used to be his mom's. They used to belong to his mom. So that adds to my knitting needle collection, which I will show you. It's right up there on the top shelf. If you were to come in my craft room and see that, you would think I was an avid knitter, that I knitted constantly. Nope, that's not me. But what I did get from her in the stuff that she gave me were some Tunisian crochet hooks, or Afghan hooks. And I've got one more. This one's actually in a project, but I don't want to take it out, so I will just show it to you, if I can get it out of the project. This one's been in a project for quite a while. But anyway, this is a double-ended aluminum Tunisian crochet hook. I do not know what size it is. There is no size printed on this at all. I'm guessing it's probably about an H, would be my guess. But anyway, I started this. I've got several squares going. I do have an idea for this now, because I'm not going to do what I originally thought I was going to. But anyway, I got that one. And I also got this Can we see it? Aluminum double-ended Tunisian crochet hook. This one is probably more like a K or something like that. It's quite a bit larger. If you can see, I don't like it. It also does not have a size written on it. But I have measured them. I can use my husband's, so are they micrometers? Or whatever he has to measure his locksmith pins with. But I can use that and then make it into millimeters so that I know what size these are. And then I also got from her, and I do have one more of these. It's in my 10-stitch blanket. It is a size J. But this is a G and an I, just regular Afghan or Tunisian crochet hooks. These are probably about 10-11 inches. Like I said, I do have another one of these that's actually with a project that I don't have with me right now, and I do know it is a J. And that's with my 10-stitch blanket. There was also these longer Tunisian crochet hooks. These are probably about 14 or 16 inches, I'm guessing. This is a size, so that one's a J, and that one says an 8 or an H. So this is an H and a J. Now these are what I had to start out with. You can't do a whole lot with this, and I was super excited about the double-ended ones, and I didn't know what to do with them. So I went online, and that's how I started the square that you've seen on that blue one, that first one I had. Which I've got squares that I started that I'm pretty sure I was using this one on. I don't know, I didn't write anything down. But they are smaller than what that one is going to be. So these are my first hooks that I got for Tunisian crochet. Well, I got super excited about that. I needed more sizes because patterns that I were seeing, the very few patterns that I were actually finding online, I was needing longer hooks. My regular crochet hooks were not long enough. Stuff would fall off the end, and these were the wrong size, or they were like super long. So the first thing I did was I got on eBay, and I don't know what vendor I got them from because, like I said, this was about 3 years ago. And I purchased a set of bamboo Tunisian crochet hooks. Now I believe these are all of them. 5, 6, like there's 8 of them that I have here. It's either all of them or I've got 2 more with projects somewhere. But the smallest one that I have is a 4mm or US 6. It's a 4mm. And I believe the biggest one I have is this one right here. And it is a 10mm or US 15. So, and I do like these. I tend to use the larger ones like H and up more than the smaller ones because I work with mostly cotton or worsted weight acrylic yarn. And with Tunisian crochet, they recommend that you at least do 2 sizes larger than what the yarn actually recommends. So if the yarn recommends using a size H crochet hook, you would actually use a size J Tunisian crochet hook, which, yes, the J is here. I was using that the other day for something. But anyway, I marked on the end. Sometimes it's hard to read what I wrote on the ends. But anyway, that's what I got. And then I decided I wanted to make a shawl. I made a shawl for my mother for Christmas a couple years ago. Obviously those are not going to be big enough because it started kind of like the grandma's dishcloth. It's actually a free pattern. I think it's on Ravelry. But it started at the bottom and then came up. So once again, I got back on eBay. And, oh, there's some knitting needles in with this. Let's get these knitting needles out of here. Knitting needles do not belong with my Tunisian crochet hooks. Well, it might just have to stay in there. There. Here, Bear. Hold the knitting needle for now. I'll put them in the other one. And I dropped them on the floor. Anyway, I think that's all of them. And I know I do have one of these that is in a yarn tote that has a project on it, but that project is probably going to be frogged because just not into the project. But anyway, I got on eBay once again, and I got this jumbled mess of extended Tunisian crochet hooks, which I will use this purple one here as an example. How long these are, I can't remember, but I mean they're really long. It's about an arm and a half on me. So I mean, here you go. You can maybe tell. There, that's from corner to corner on my screen. So these are actually quite long. They were perfect for making that shawl for my mom. I've also used these exclusively for making stocking hats when I made them flat, because really it was too much to put on one of these, just the regular hooks that I have. But it was so much easier to put them on these because I could have more room. Now what do I do to keep, if I don't need the whole length? I tie the end up. And I tie it to where it's just a little bit longer than what I need, so that, you know, I don't have all this extra dangling down. This has worked so far for me, and like I said, I use these. These actually have the numbers written on them. This one's a 5.5 millimeter. And like I said, I use those quite a bit as well. And the only other Tunisian hook that I have, I don't have it with me because it is in my crochet hook pouch. It is that double-ended hook that I got here recently, that actually it's in the bag with the water bottle pouch that I was making, that I showed you guys on Monday. So that's what I've got Tunisian wise. That's my first introduction to Tunisian crochet and my reintroduction to Tunisian crochet. I have made hats. I have made, since I've been doing it, I've made hats. I have made like dishcloths and pot holders, and let's see, what else have I done? I made a lot of squares, which eventually those squares are going to be made into afghans. And I have gotten books and downloaded patterns and learned and looked and tried, and I really enjoy Tunisian crochet. So what I am going to do is, starting in about 2 weeks, not every Thursday, but most Thursdays are going to be what I'm going to call Tunisian Crochet Thursday. It's going to be a crochet with me, Tunisian crochet. If we don't do Tunisian crochet, we will do some sort of crochet with me project on Thursdays. Sorry. Next week, what I'm going to do is a crochet with me, and we're going to learn to do the simple Tunisian crochet stitch. And then the reason I'm showing you that is, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that Monday I made a crochet project. This is what I made. In order to do this, you need to know the simple Tunisian stitch. That's all you need to know. So once we learn that, then I'm going to do a crochet with me and show you how I made this. This is all my own creation. I did not find a pattern for this. My brain went into overdrive and I had to write it down and come give it a try, and that's what I came up with. I really like it. So I'm going to frog this, and we're going to make it together. So at that point, I will tell you next week what size hook you need and what kind of yarn that I'm using, so that you can have that ready for the following. So the 2 more weeks, we're going to have a crochet with me project, and we're going to make a flag, and that way you will have it for the 4th of July. So check back next Thursday. If you don't want to forget about it, make sure you subscribe and click the little bell so that you will get notifications every time that I do a video. And I will see you guys in the next video, probably on Monday for Yarn Talk. And you guys, thank you for subscribing. Thank you to my new subscribers and all my previous subscribers. You guys are awesome. You're what keeps this channel going. And I will see you guys in the next video.